let us start. I think people have joined in now.
Sure.
Once again, welcome everybody, people who are listening in. Thank you for joining us on a Friday afternoon, evening, and welcome on board. So, let me first start by introducing our speakers for today. So, today I have Harish Damodran and Aniket Padar with us. So, Aniket is the managing director at Jeevan Uthan Financial Services. With over 13 years of experience in the financial sector, Aniket is the is actually leading NBFC with an impressive portfolio of 20 crores across 20 branches in West Bengal and Rajasthan. And Jeevan Uthan is on a mission to be a credible social security organization that offers world-class services while providing universal and equitable social protection. Welcome, Aniket.
Hi, good evening,
Hi.
everyone. Good evening, audiences. Good evening, sir, everyone. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be a speaker over here. It's a great privilege for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aniket, for joining us today. And Harish Damodran. Harish is our VP of FinTech Solutions at AuthBridge. He is a seasoned sales professional with over 23 years of experience, including sales development in B2B and retail banking. Currently, he is heading sales for the BFSI segment at AuthBridge, focusing on new business development, sales, contract negotiations, strategic alliances, process management against regulatory requirements, key account management, and a lot more. Welcome, Harish. Welcome to the webinar today.
Thank you so much, Mansi. Thank you so much, Aniket, to be a part. Aniket is a big representation from the microfinance industry, so it's an honor to have you in this particular panel. Thank you for the rest of the audience who've just joined it, and we can proceed.
Sure. So a few housekeeping items for everyone. While we'll be going through the webinar, you all can post your questions in the Q&A box that you can see at the bottom of your screen. We will take up the questions at the end of the webinar. Thank you so much. So the financial services industry is undergoing a rapid digital transformation. A significant volume of the banking transactions are now conducted online, with this number expected to rise significantly in the coming years. This shift towards digital interactions present exciting opportunities for efficiency and convenience. But it also introduces new security challenges. Building trust with customers is paramount in the BFSI sector. Data breaches and fraudulent activities can have devastating consequences, eroding customer confidence and impacting the bottom line. So today, in this webinar, we will explore how digital signatures are playing a crucial role in securing the future of BFSI. To start this off, Harish and Aniket, I would like to ask you, now that we are talking about how we are in a digital age, so what are some of the challenges or the biggest challenges that you've seen with the traditional paper-based processes within the BFSI sector? Maybe Aniket, you can start.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. First of all, we are NBFC, but specifically we are NBFC MFI, Microfinance Institution. So before coming to paperless, e-signing, digital sign, we have to think in which market we are serving people. First of all, who are borrowers, who are our employees, at what education level they are doing. So our majority borrowers are poor people, underprivileged people from the entire rural belt of India, especially Bengal and Rajasthan, where they don't have access of proper sanitation, proper water, pure drinking water. Education to dur ki baat hai. We serve this kind of people. So, and our employees, the core level employees, field workers, CROs are also in the same pattern. They are under matriculation or matriculation only level. They don't have proper writing skills, proper reading skills. So these two are the major challenges. They are especially undereducated. For there, we have a loan application form of 8 to 10 pages. It's really difficult for our ACROs and AFOs to fill up their form in a handwritten and do the signing up with the borrower. So the first thing that we have overlapped with the paperless and e-signing, that through software automation, there is no handwritten concept at my office right now. They do through totally digitally. So my workforce is doing the work easily. They can understand the language in a vernacular language and do whatever they want because it's a much more efficient for them. So for me, my CROs, my FOs are happy because there is no writing skills needed. They go to our borrowers, they took our Aadhaar OTP, do the signing, and it's a hassle-free work. Even we reduce our turnaround, reduce our fraudulent activities. Everything is just minimized in just a fraction of seconds. So it's a part of that. We believe in technology, and technology is always gifting us back with this kind of features.
In fact, Mansi, thank you so much for that, Aniket. And it is not just restricted to the lending industry alone. If you look at this processes that he's talked about, whether it's in terms of form filling, documentation, and we're talking of field executives involved in this particular process, this is prevalent even in other industries such as insurance, in the securities or the DMAT. In fact, digitalization as a whole is really going to make a big difference in bringing down the entire inefficiency that we used to have when we were using paper forms of a solution. So yes, this is a big step towards that particular goal.
And really, I want to add, if you see my borrowers, majority borrowers of microfinance, they believe in thumb impression right now. But as on date, we do signing through digital Aadhaar OTP signing. Majority of the customers, those whose mobile number is not linked with Aadhaar OTP also. So there is alternate features of virtual signing. So both are available. So at least they also feel from the back of mind, now अभी तो ये थप्पा नहीं दे रहा हो रहा, हम तो कुछ आगे निकल गए. So this is a psychology we are building also, and that's a big thing.
Right. I think you're right, Aniket, over there. And all those processes in a way are helping us overcome the challenges which you said, inefficiency could be one, vulnerabilities are there. And obviously the whole process is becoming a lot faster for everybody.
Right.
And to that effect, then if you have already, both of you have already highlighted some of the benefits that both the customers have seen. But from a business standpoint, what have been your major benefits or the advantages that you have seen as an organization? Or if an organization can actually look at, probably we can start maybe from what was happening a couple of years to now, where do we stand?
See, typically, now, and if I take the example of lending, lending is a very time sensitive process. Now, there is a customer on one end of the spectrum who's looking for a loan as soon as possible. There's a lending institution on the other side who's trying to disburse the loan as fast as possible. Now, in between all this, once you're done with the negotiation, once you're clear that you would want to now sign off and hand over the loan to the customer, there is a process which requires a lot of automation. In fact, you have a popular term called robotic process automation, which is your RPA. Primarily what it does is trying to simplify the process, which can be reduced, the time taken, the amount of time that we've taken traditionally in trying to get signatures. So you'll have customers signing say X number of pages, multiple signatures, and there's a possibility that he or she would miss out on a signature, or he or she could possibly do a erroneous signature by the end of that entire documentation cycle. You are eradicating that particular bit by automating this signature process. Similarly, on the banking side, you've actually decided to give the loan to that particular individual, and now you want to make sure that the entire process gets reduced, the turnaround time gets reduced, and you automate the process of getting the signatures done, and customer gets to know what is the loan that he or she has actually received. So that entire process where we have spent time, we've actually curtailed it because of this automation.
Yeah, I think you're right. A lot of that automation is helping us out. So, Aniket, if you could also share have you ever seen in your experience some cases or an anecdote or somewhere you have seen that actually a digital signature helped you out as a company wherein you are lending to say customers in terms of any reduction in TAT or overall processes that have improved for you?
First of all, I have to tell you that honestly, why I have decided to move paper to paperless, manual signing to digital signing. I just give you a real-time example. In one village, one of my FO, we are just new at that point of time, going for loan disbursement. Member is complaining कि आपके इधर इतना साइन करना हो रहा है, आपके इधर एक लोन 20,000 लोन के लिए इतना साइन करना हो रहा है, मुझे अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है. बार बार हस्बैंड को बुला के काम से साइन कराना हो रहा है, आई एम नॉट लाइकिंग इट, तो दिस कैन नॉट बी हैपन। एक्स कंपनी इज देयर, जो कि तब पे बहुत बड़ा था, कि दे तो एक बायोमेट्रिक लेके आधार ओटीपी लेके एक काम से हो जा रहा है। तब पता चला अरे ये तो समथिंग कंपटीशन भी हो गया कि पेपर एंड पेपरलेस में, कि इफ आई स्टैंड देयर देन आई एम गोइंग बैकवर्ड फ्रॉम द करेंट टेक्नोलॉजी। दिस इज द फर्स्ट थिंग दैट हिट मी एंड हर्ट मी ऑल्सो। ठीक है, देन I thought कि if I have to grow, if I have to do big something, then I have to adapt the technology first. This is the first thing that hit my mind to go to paperless. Fine, we have started planning and doing. Then it coming to the broader aspect, that risk mitigation. And in our cases, 90% of funds go through bank and comes in cash, because cash collection is 95%. So some FOs with ample cash in hand sometimes slipped, पैसा लेके चल जाता है, फ्रॉड लोन दे देता है. When we come to that paperless mode with other OTP signing and any other features, we reduce the risk.
Correct.
Yep.
And erroneous document, unfilled document, because कोई एक लेंडर आ गया, any lender will come, see my documents, all are filled in perfect manner. it होना ही है, ऑटोमेशन इसको बोलते कि होना ही है, नहीं तो लोन ही नहीं जाएगा. So these are the changes we made in a very shorter span of time. We reduce our रिस्क. इसलिए क्या हुआ, आज मेरा रीपेमेंट रेट तब से अभी बहुत अच्छा है. अल्टीमेट बुक्स आर गुड.
Yeah, that makes sense. So in that case, Aniket, like you were saying, rural areas, and then there are people underbanked, unbanked population also. Literacy can also be a problem at times. So how do you see this digital transformation or digital signatures helping out with that? How are you tackling those challenges at your firm?
For what challenges? Doing digital signatures?
Yeah, so say if somebody is not that tech savvy, they are not very tech friendly, or there are some geographically also, there are far off places that your FOs are going to. How are you tackling those problems?
I think AuthBridge has plan B, plan C model. For example, if there is low network, poor network, I can do the signing. Then my system is there from where backend we can pull the thing and do the work. So it's टेक्नोलॉजी है, सर्वर भी फॉलो हो सकता है, ये तो नेचुरल पार्ट है. बैंक का भी सर्वर फॉलो होता है, बीएसएनएल का सर्वर भी जाता है. ये दिस इज विल हैवी पार्ट, विल बी द पार्ट आल्सो, बट सम प्लान बी, प्लान सी हैज टू बी देयर, राइट. एंड फॉर एग्जांपल, हम लोग का मेजोरिटी क्या है, वी कलेक्ट केवाईसी फ्रॉम रिमोटली, वी डू द केवाईसी ऑफ दैट पीपल विद देयर आधार ओटीपी कंसेंट. उनके घर पे तब जाना भी नहीं हो रहा है. फॉर एग्जांपल, आज के लिए मेरा सर्वर डाउन है, आई कैन रिक्वेस्ट माई मेंबर, मैम आपका केवाईसी मुझे दे दो, I will do the thing and will give you back. राजी हो जा रहा है, मेरा सिस्टम में है. तो आई थिंक दिस चैलेंज, इसमें कुछ इशू ही नहीं है. पेपर जब था तब बहुत इशू था, अभी तो कुछ इशू ही फील नहीं होता हमको.
So in fact, adding to what Aniket mentioned, and interestingly, when we partnered with Jeevan Tam, we managed to create a lot of more processes in our existing products. So SignDrive as a product, we've combined a lot of features which are essential from a lending perspective in order to make their journey simpler. One was, as he rightly mentioned, we give alternate ways of signing. One could be an Aadhaar based signing, the other one could be an electronic signature, third one could be a digital signature. We also defined workflows for him in terms of, once a customer signs on a particular document, it could go on to the lending institution, they complete the signature, the bank completes it. The entire journey is done by a customizable workflow, so that you decide how the workflow should move, which applicant, which co-applicant should sign, what is the nature, and after that, where it should travel. The amount of time that were being spent in trying to coordinate all these activities in the erstwhile era of documentation, that's been curtailed to such a small extent, and that is where we are able to make a difference. And in addition to that, the objective of also providing e-stamping. So all that, if you're able to try and combine it in a platform that gives convenience, that gives a lot of power to the lending institution, that gives a lot of satisfaction to the customer. And Mansi, you had asked, what about areas where you have a low network, and Aniket has rightly pointed out, those areas have now come down because of the amount of improved network around the state. But even in places where there is minimal, we've actually given an SMS notification link, which helps ensuring that the customer gets a reminder, and also gets an accessibility link the moment he or she reaches a place where there's better network, so that it's like an anytime anywhere convenience. So then the customer is never found wanting, or realizing or thinking that, because of that person being far off, whether the loan process gets delayed or not, that convenience is then being handed over.
Yeah, I think you're
I
right
like to
there.
add one thing. Ki
Sure.
phone network, phone telecom network is the rarest now, to be very frank, because kudos to Jio, Airtel and others.
Correct.
They do a very good work, and अभी नेटवर्क तो उनका इतना कंपटीशन हो गया कि हम लोग बेनिफिटेड हो जा रहे हैं, ये तो सही है. तो दैट इज फाइन. अभी रेयरेस्ट ऑफ रेयर केस है कि नेटवर्क का इशू हो रहा है, बहुत कम मिलने को हम वी डोंट फील इट आज के डेट में.
Right. I think you're right. Both of you are right that way, that technology has to be the enabler. And a lot of the infra has already been provided by the government, and they're also taking some initiative, both private and the public sector. But there are also times, especially in the lending business, Aniket, wherein people can be a bit skeptical. Your customers can be skeptical in terms of security, how my data is being used, how my signature is being used. Or Harish, you would have also seen in your experience talking to a lot of customers. So, from a customer's perspective, what could be the biggest security concerns that you have seen being raised? And then how do you feel the digital signatures can actually build that trust or ensure that data security?
See, Mansi, typically what happens is in this lending ecosystem, and if I'm only taking the lending as an example right now, because of Aniket being here, is if you notice there are key players in it. One is the lender, the other one is the customer, and there is RBI. So how authentic is the process? That's a question, right? So from a customer's perspective, how safe is it in taking a loan? And from the lending perspective, how risk free is it? The entire digitization process. First thing that we did as a sign drive platform is we ensure that there is certification, which is your infosec certificate. So we are ISO certified 9001 and 27001 certification. Second is basically, and more importantly, audit trail. Generally, when we are trying to make the process secured, first thing is transparency, and second is to ensure that there is an audit trail, so that both for them from the customer's perspective and from the lender perspective, they know in terms of what has been the flow. So when we are talking about audit trail, we've got timestamp, place stamp, and we've got the person who's actually signing it. There is transparency. The customer knows in terms of what are the terms and conditions that he or she is signing up for. The lender is also giving the provisions in that particular loan, which the customer is also aware. The customer cannot deny later on that he or she is not asked for this loan, nor can the lender say that, okay, customer, we've given in the right provisions and the customer has accepted it. And when we are providing this particular trail, that becomes a more of a secured environment for the entire industry.
Yeah, understood. And Aniket, so then obviously, from a regulatory standpoint, from a tech standpoint, Harish is talking about, but there are also some initiatives that have been taken to educate the customers. So, as a lender, what are some of the programs that maybe Jeevanothan has undertaken, or if you have seen, maybe collaborated with other regulatory bodies to do that? If you could touch upon that.
I first of all, I always believe, especially those who are NGC MA5 company, me and like me others, we have to be a responsible lender. Why? Because we work with the people at the bottom of the pyramid, those who little bit of knowledge or no knowledge regarding technology. But in recent cases, we face कि कोई बड़ा बार OTP देने को डर रहा है बिकॉज ऑफ साइबर फ्रॉड, बैंक से पैसा लेके जा रहे हैं ये. बट इसको काउंटर करने के लिए वी हैव सम अदर पॉलिसीज. नंबर वन कि anyone has applied for the loan, after getting the OTP and all, they get a personal SMS from company also that your loan has been sanctioned, you have applied for loan or your loan has been disbursed. और हम लोग का OTP देने से पैसा मिले तक 72 आवर्स का बात होता है, तो ज्यादा टेंशन भी नहीं होता है. टाइम्स कम हो गया ना, मैक्स टू मैक्स. एक चीज वो है. सेकेंड इज कि बीइंग अ रिस्पॉन्सिबल लेंडर, आई ट्राई टू मेक अ एफओज एंड बीएम्स कि तुम बोलो कि व्हाट इज डिजिटल टेक्नोलॉजी हैपनिंग, ऐसे हो रहे हैं. और एक भी सुविधा होगा कि मेरे जैसे और 2-3 कंपनी भी ऐसे कर रहे हैं. तो जब क्यूमुलेटिव पावर ऐसे कर रहे हैं ना, दे आर गेटिंग सम कॉन्फिडेंस, because the borrowers, those who are sharing OTPs, सब मेरे ऑफिसर के सामने ही बैठा है मेजोरिटी केसेस में, लेकिन जो फ्रॉड हो रहा है तो किसी को फोन पे बोल रहा है, देयर इज अ डिफरेंस। तो जो भी कुछ डर था आई थिंक बहुत घट गए, एंड अभी भी हम लोग का बहुत रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी हैंडल करके वी शुड हैव अ रेगुलर इंटरवल कैंपेन, व्हाट इज डिजिटल साइन, व्हाट इज पेपरलेस फॉर्म, व्हाट इज ओटीपीज एंड ऑल, ये होना भी चाहिए, ये भी बोलना चाहिए किसको देना चाहिए किसको देना नहीं चाहिए।
करेक्ट।
तो आई ऑलवेज से कि ऑल माइक्रो फाइनेंस लेंडर्स जब समिट होता है कुछ भी होता है, ट्राई टू spread the awareness not only for digital but there are
Yeah.
other purpose also, because we are the people who directly meet with that kind of borrower. So I always believe in that ki being a responsible lender we have to deal with delicately and responsibly.
Right. That human angle has to be there because
Human
obviously
touch has to be there in microfinance. Without human touch business ही बंद हो जाएगा, guaranteed है एकदम मेरा।
no, I think you're right. You're right. Harish, were you saying something?
No, that's fine.
Okay. So, like we were saying that it is about the human touch, the human angle, and customer relationships are at the heart of any business, especially a microfinance business. So, how do you think you can create a more customer-centric experience using technology and more specific to digital signatures?
So
Harish, maybe you can-
I'll take this up first. So Mansi, see, there are three primary things required. One is transparency, especially from a lending perspective. A customer is seeking a loan. The one thing that the customer would want to know is there is a need that the customer is seeking for, and the lending institution is trying to meet it. At the heart of it, there is an urgency based on which the customer is seeking desperately to look for a loan. At that point of time, we need to ensure that we are as transparent as possible from a lending institution perspective, and that's where digitization of the signatures or documentation come into play, so that customers are aware. That's one. Second is urgency. Anybody who is applying for a loan, in case of a microfinance also, there is an immediate need, which is why that person is seeking out.
Correct.
So you need to ensure that the turnaround time that you take in disbursing the loan should be as minimal as possible. There are certain places or processes which could take a longer time, but places where you could really shorten the time, that is where technology should be an enabler, should be an assistant to the lending institution, should be an assistant to the customer to ensure that the process becomes faster. And lastly, it's more about convenience. So if you're able to make it convenient, now today, as Aniket had mentioned earlier, you had customers signing for 3-4 pages and continuously. Customer has to regularly sign, and he or she needs to be at a particular place where that signature needs to be done. Imagine if you are able to give that convenience at any time, anywhere. You can actually sign it, and it is a secured signature. It is a recognized signature. That is convenience. So then you're not really restricting the customer from his or her duties, and they can actually go ahead with their lives and make sure they also get their loan processed on time. So I think these are the three key things that a digitalization platform does help.
Yes, definitely. And Aniket, your take on it, how do you think a microfinance company or any company for that matter can use technology to be more customer centric and actually focus on customer delight?
First of all, customer delight is important and employee delight is also important. मेरे केस में तो दो ही हो गए, so this is the first thing. और कस्टमर डिलाइट के पहले मैं आई विल कम टू एम्प्लॉय डिलाइट। जो लिख नहीं पा रहे थे, जो ठीक से साइन नहीं कर पा रहे थे, वो आज एक ढंग का कमाई करके घर पे जा रहे एकदम सर ऊंचा करके। आई कैन प्राउडली से माय जो फील्ड ऑफिसर थे उनमें से 30% आर फीमेल एम्प्लॉय, जिसका नो एजुकेशन बैकग्राउंड नथिंग। वो आज जब घर पे जाता है एंड दे आर ESI PF होल्डर, ग्रेचुइटी होल्डर एंड अदर फीचर्स ऑल्सो, तो घर पे जाके दे मतलब सर ऊंचा हो गया, कुछ सम्मान आ गया फैमिली में कि हम ऐसा काम कर रहे हैं और लेंडिंग कर रहे हैं। और स्पेशली रूरल बेल्ट, उनको क्या हुआ कि वो मैडम हमको लोन देती है, कंपनी नाम नहीं, तो उसका वो भी एक आ गया कि मैडम लोन देती है, तो इसका भी एक रेस्पेक्ट उनको अलग से मिल रहा है। तो दिस इज द फर्स्ट की माय एम्प्लॉय डिलाइट। नाउ आई कम टू कस्टमर डिलाइट। कस्टमर डिलाइट चालू होता है फर्स्ट फ्रॉम कम्युनिकेशन। और कम्युनिकेशन अच्छा कर लिया उसके बाद दे विल ऑटोमेटिकली कम टू पेपरलेस मोड। और एक बार हम लोग का पॉलिसी क्या है कि फर्स्ट one member will get inducted, one time KYC storage, and next second round, third round, fourth round, and escalation of the loan amount up to 2 lakhs rupees maximum, starting with 10,000, 15,000, 20,000. तो एक बार हो गया, दूसरा बार कुछ करना नहीं हो रहा है, भरोसा हो गया. And another thing, other than the financial service, we give entire free medical service to our borrowers also and our employees also through doctor checkups and पूरा एक साल के लिए totally free along with all generic medicine. And it is also helping them to build a confidence.
Correct.
अगर दवाई दे रहे हैं तो ओटीपी ऐसा ही दे देगा, कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं है सच्ची में. तो दिस इज द फर्स्ट थिंग. तो वही कि वी हैव टू बी रिस्पॉन्सिबल लेंडर. एंड इफ आई बिलीव कि इफ माय एम्प्लॉइज आर हैप्पी विद द फीचर्स, ये जो साइनिंग बंद हो, मतलब लिखा बंद हो गया, डेटा भरना बंद हो गया, डेटा स्टोरेज सबसे बड़ा हेडेक. एक हम लोग वी टेक ओनली 1 BHK, 1 रूम, एक कंप्यूटर, एक उसमें एक अलमारी में इतना 2300 MB का डॉक्यूमेंट रखना इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट. दिस इज वन ऑफ द मोस्ट चैलेंज. तो ये भी पूरा बंद हो गया. तो आई फील वेरी गुड फॉर दैट कि इसीलिए सब कुछ एम्प्लॉय खुश है तो बॉरोवर खुश है तो कुछ चाहिए नहीं.
I think that is what we all aim for: customer delight, employee delight. Both of them are happy. Everything is sorted. That's well.
Yeah.
So, Aniket, then in this industry can also have a lot of unsecured loans, right? And people, the people who are there who are actually borrowing, your borrowers basically, literacy is one, digital literacy specifically that I wanted to focus on. How are you making them more literate, or how are you addressing their concerns about the potential frauds? Because we are seeing a lot of frauds these days, financial frauds. They are very skeptical about clicking on a link, whom to give the OTP that we have continuously been talking about, who should I give it to? So how do you make sure from your field agents perspective, how are you training them maybe, and your customers, or any standardized processes
I am coming in two parts. One is from my employee part and one is from customer part. First, in terms of employee, we have a different and separate panel with of trainers only who are specialized in microfinance. At regular intervals, we have modules, PPTs and all. And we have tie-up with some other companies also for training of our employee. Low level से उसको तो promotion भी करना होगा. For that reason, we are training along with campaigning. Company क्या चाह रहे, what technology we are doing, or this paperless program, a harsh training have to be there. नहीं तो काम ही नहीं कर पाएगा. बस समझना होगा ना. So training is there, training department is there, and we working in rigorous manner. So employee part is fine. Now coming to the borrower part. The major thing, many of the MFIs adapted paperless program and digital signing. So it's easy for us currently right now. Again, the trained employee FOs and BMs are going to the field. They are just telling the same thing that we company are telling. So it's easy for them. और एक बार हो गया तो दूसरा कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं हम लोग को हो रहा है. So we are okay with the borrowers, and borrowers are smart even right now because डेली बेसिस में हम देख रहे हैं पेपरलेस प्रोग्राम बढ़ रहा है, DSC बढ़ रहा है. एंड द थिंग, अभी borrowers don't write even after having the pleasure of digital sign and Aadhaar OTP, they just hate to write and do the signatures.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's going to be very difficult for them to go back to that era of actually doing physical signatures across forms.
सर मैं भी कस्टमर हूँ, मेरा बहुत सारा लेंडर है, मुझे भी लिखना नहीं इच्छा नहीं होता है. मेरा 8-10 लेंडर है, उससे देख तो जो लिखना तो बहुत नई लोन लेंगे, इतना लिख पाते. जो पेपरलेस है उससे हम ठीक है.
You are right that way. But then, Harish, my question to you would be then, how do we address the challenges wherein virtual signing is not possible? Maybe the customers don't have their mobile numbers linked to Aadhaar. What could be the other alternatives for verification that they can use then?
See, and these are the things that we thought about, before we introduce this particular product. Like I said, and like Aniket said, the work should not stop. Just when a person is there with the customer, and at that point of time we are trying to find a solution for getting the digital signature, it is not necessary that the customer's mobile should be linked to another. Yes, there is a high probability that it will be linked, but there will be circumstances where it is not linked. That is where we gave the alternative that you can do an electronic signature. It could be a signature on the screen, it could be a signature on a paper which can be scanned and uploaded, or it could be a digital signature using an encrypted key. The objective is to make it or give options to the customer. So you're not confined to the fact that, oh, my mobile number is not linked to another, so I cannot do a digital signature. No, gone are those days, where you're handicapped by a single process. The objective right now is to have multiple options, because the work should not stop. Once that loan journey has started, we need to make sure that the entire journey gets completed. The entire thing is linked, like I said, to an audit trail. Everything that is done, even when the customer is signing, all that gets uploaded, all that becomes a record. So God forbid, even in later on, if at all the case goes to a court, you can actually use this audit trail to showcase, and it becomes an evidence in the court where the customer has confirmed that he or she is actually signed that particular application, and it's a valid signature, and they have accepted the terms of conditions of the loan.
Right, right. I think that makes sense, and people would actually, our attendees would really appreciate it. That there are other options as well.
Correct.
No,
So,
even in
yeah.
my industry, if you see in microfinance industry, almost 40% of our borrowers, those mobile is not linked with Aadhaar.
Correct.
So we are rigorously using electronic signing or virtual signing.
Correct.
So it's a master stroke from AuthBridge sector because it's required, hardly required.
Yes,
Thanks, Aniket.
definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, Aniket, we did touch upon it that TAT becomes very, very crucial when we are talking about loan disbursements. They have to be very quick. So, in your experience, if you could quantify it for us, for our audience, that what changes or what improvements you have seen in the turnaround time, or how it has improved for you?
Reduction of टैट को कमाना लो करना इसका सबसे कारण है when competition grows because some other one giving is much lower tat from me. If someone, then I will think to lower the tat of mine also. This is the first thing. In around there are 220 to 30 NBFC MFIs, not for profit MFIs working pan India. The bigger companies are doing disbursement 48 to 72 hours. When I have started, we disbursed in 15 days. Then we reduced to 10 days. Then we reduced to 5 days. Now we reduced to 72 hours, 48 to 72 hours. Because there is competition and taking advantage of technology through AuthBridge, through SignDrive and other products, we have reduced to 72 hours. And hopefully, by coming 1 or 2 FI, we will on-tap disbursement within 24 hours. We have a plan on that also. Because आज के दिन में एक कोई गांव का लेडी ग्रुप में बैठे लोन लेगी 3-4-5 लाख लोन ऐसे ही मिल जाते हैं. There are number of companies ready to give it. So if we can't lower down our tax, we can't adapt the technology, हम competition से बाहर ही हो जाएंगे.
Correct.
Right, definitely. So then TAT becomes one, and there are other challenges also with paper-based. Example, your storage space. So that also costs money, right? So beyond that, if you could elaborate on some of the cost benefits also, not just time, but the cost benefits of replacing your paper-based processes with digital signatures.
So I can take this here. Maybe Aniket can add from there. I think, and this is primarily from the lending side. When you're taking signatures from the client, you also require somebody at their back end to make sure that these documentation is checked and the signatures are in order, and you also need to incorporate your signature. All this takes time. When you are digitalizing the entire solution, you are cutting down on that particular time, you're increasing efficiency, you're improving productivity, you're reducing your cost. This operational cost that gets multiplied on, as he rightly mentioned, if he's trying to lend a particular loan, for 15 days and from 10 days into 72 hours, imagine the cost that he's running for, running that particular loan till he disburses it. And if he's able to reduce it, and all that cost benefit can then be transferred to the customer. Aniket, you can add here, or you can, you can share here.
I will share a real-time case, the thing which I faced. See, our working days is Monday to Saturday. Second and fourth is holiday. First and third is open. So Monday to Friday, they enter operation, loan disbursement, collection. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Aniket, go ahead. We can hear.
So loan disbursement, collection, other operation. The day Saturday is for filling up the data. The entire work day. आप सोचिए हम लोग का 80-90 फील्ड ऑफिसर से हर सैटरडे को लिखने को बैठ जा रहे, कितना वर्किंग आवर्स हैम्पर हो रहे हैं.
Correct.
So we are reducing OPEX, we are using proper usage of पर्सन पावर जो काम पे जा रहे हैं. तो प्रॉपर यूटिलाइजेशन ऑफ द मतलब टेक्नोलॉजी को लेके जो फीचर्स हम ले पा रहे प्रॉपरली सब यूज. सपोज वी हैव अ ओडी, कुछ पैसा ड्यू हुआ है, तो आई कैन टेल माई एफओ कि यू डोंट हैव टू राइट बिकॉज इट इज ऑटोमेटेड, यू कैन गो डू द कलेक्शन, डू ट्राई टू रिकवर द ओडी. प्रैक्टिकल. तो दीज आर द थिंग्स वी गॉट बेनिफिटेड. तब बोलता सर अगर आप ओडी के लिए भेजेंगे तो कब लिखेंगे, तब बोलेंगे आप बिना फॉर्म फिलअप नहीं है. तो अभी तो वो सब चले गए.
In fact, your acquisition cost really comes down, huh, Aniket?
Correct. First of all, the major cost is in our case, MFI case, the major cost is manpower and the usage of the manpower.
Correct.
तो वही है. तो वो हम अगर यूज कर लिया ठीक तक तो everything is fine.
So Mansi, and this cost benefit gets translated even to the end customer. If you are able to then increase your margin at your end, you wouldn't mind giving some of it to the customer. So in the end, not only is the customer getting the loan on time, not only he or she is getting a transparent process, not only he or she is actually getting convenience, he is also actually getting at some point of time some cost benefit which gets trickled down in the entire journey.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you are saving cost and improving experiences, eventually it will lead to better experiences for the customers as well. 100%. So I think we are now that we're coming to the end of the webinar. So we have discussed a lot about digitization, more specifically digital signatures. So where do you see, both of you see the future of digitization or digital transformation to yes, lending and more towards BFSI in general as an industry as well, and how best to leverage technology?
So I'll just take it up and maybe Aniket can add from there on. See, it has exploded in all forms, actually. If you look at right from enhanced customer experience, right from the onboarding space, you're able to make it convenient and it is visible and applicable for the customer to apply on a press of a button. The process has now become automated to a large extent as far as operations are concerned. We are also doing enhanced due diligence, which means underwriting becomes an easier form of process because you're getting access to information about the customer to actually whether to give or not a loan. You are also enhancing you're reducing the entire journey, right from identification of the customer's end to the end disbursement and post. That entire journey has now been crunched, and now I see this only progressing from here on. Institutions now will increasingly look at stitched processes, not just on one particular one, to make it more convenient. So that today, as Aniket mentioned earlier, the objective is to reduce from a 72-hour to on the spot kind of decision making. For that, you need process automation. You need to have intelligence at your fingertips. You need to have the solution to make sure that it is deliverable within that spot of time. Technology is now enhancing on all fronts. It is giving you information at your fingertips. It is accessing or giving you the platform to make sure that you complete the process within that given span of time. So the journey will only get better and better from here on. That's my take on this.
Yeah, I'm sure it has to be. Aniket, your thoughts on that?
So coming to future, I just tell the present thing. One of the biggest headache I think maybe or not, but still challenge I can say, the compliance part for NBFC. So this technology help us to face the compliance part, reduce the paper program, anything. GST bully, income tax bully, Reserve Bank bully. Anyone want to take my LMS through this technology? Everything is ready as of now. कुछ पेंडिंग रहता नहीं है. तो compliance का जो पार्ट था थ्रू ऑपरेशन के लिए पूरा का पूरा एकदम ठीक हो गया. All are rightly filled, ready. Date range में जो डेट में देखना चाहिए देख लीजिए, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं. So this is the present and future is very booming. I have a very positive outlook on this kind of features because there are many industries and there are major MFIs also do yet to go for this kind of program, this kind of technology, and I think they should go immediately, because until and unless we taste the sweet, we don't know how we'll taste ना. So जो
Correct.
लिया है उसके मजा है. तो मुझे वही लगता है कि future is very booming. Even I just telling earlier also कि recently I do a signing with ICICI Bank. 3 months, 4 months back, they used to writing in all those documents, but as of now, entirely tab-based with a paperless program. So this is a kind of thing. I think it is very, very positive outlook.
Perfect. I think that's what we all want to hear, and that's great to hear from both of you, especially where the industry is heading and what all we can expect. Now, I would like to open the floor for questions. Please put in your questions in the Q&A box. Meanwhile, we do have a question over here. So, Srinath has asked that how digital signatures are used in the engineering valuation.
Sorry, what is that again?
How digital signatures can be used in engineering valuations.
Engineering valuation.
Yep, machineries and proposals with design of main
So,
contract.
okay, typically the digitalization of signatures that we are talking about is generally in all those places where there is a contract, where there is a consent required, where there is an acknowledgement required. If the engineering valuation has contracts involved in it, you can actually automate the entire process where you can define and you can define the workflow in terms of who needs to actually sign off the contract, when that contract needs to be signed off, you can time it. uh, the best part of the platform is it's completely customizable. You can define your workflow as per your process, and then you can decide who would be the signatories and who need to sign at what frequency.
Okay, okay. So the next question is around compliances. So how do you ensure, from a tech standpoint, I think they're asking, how do you ensure that you're compliant with the norms of RBI and other regulatory bodies?
So typically the process that we use in the sign drive, like I said, it's an ISO certified platform. We've actually complied with ISO 9001 and 27000. So your major security certificate is taken into consideration. But from an RBI standpoint, the kind of signatures that we are doing is we are doing it through an Aadhaar based signature, which is your authenticated signature. The other one is your digital signature, which is again a recognized service by RBI, and your electronic signatures, which is actually a physical signature. So once you have decided that the signature taken is authentic, we also ensure that there are audit trails so that you are able to keep a record of what is the process which has been followed, who's been the one who's signing. We can take live images as the person is signing. We can use declarations in that, all that which can be presented as evidence.
Right, right. The next question that we have is how fast have loan approvals become with the adoption of digital signatures?
That I think Aniket
Aniket
should be able to answer.
Fast, I think fast is the wrong word. It's become faster and will go fastest actually. If you tell me why, because in banking sector it will be different, but in MFI sector there is strict RBI rules along with the loan application form. So there is first basic loan application form with entire village data. किसी के घर पे कितना, can you hear me? किसी
Yeah, we can hear.
किसी के घर में कितना गाय है, कितना मुर्गी है, सब कुछ लिखना होता है एक लोन है. It's true. To get the real condition of the village, we have to write it there. कितना है, कितना गाँव है, कितना दूध देती है, दूध होता कितना है, साल में क्या होता है, इतना डिटेल्स में. और हम लोग का जो लोन एप्लीकेशन फॉर्म, it's all about 8 to 10 pages. And our employee and our borrowers, both education standard is below average. तो बहुत टाइम लगता है इसको रेडी करने में. But when it comes to fill up point, bullet 1, bullet 2, bullet 3, it will lower down the TAT positively and it will go faster to fastest.
Right, right. I think, yeah, that is there. And the next question that we have is if you could elaborate more on the use of digital signatures for other industries also, apart from BFSI.
So, like I mentioned earlier, I think there was another similar question asked. Wherever there is a customer consent required, wherever there is an acknowledgement required, and wherever there is a security or a regulated environment, you can use in all these processes, you can use a sign drive signature. So the objective is to have the document made legal. So you have the required signatures and something which can be presented in the court of law. So like I said, it's not just confined to the BFSI industry. If there are any contracts, if there are any other agreements that need to be digitized and you need to utilize it, a sign draft could be a solution for it.
Perfect. Perfect. And the next question that I have is, digital signatures improve customer satisfaction beyond the loan processing time?
I think
Uh,
100% from
yeah.
my end.
Mm.
My borrowers are satisfied. They don't have to write all those things because it's hectic procedure, time-taking procedure, coming repeatedly to the same offices for signing and different things. It's hectic. I think it's very
Yeah.
easy for in our field. आप सपोज किसी को मैं बोलूँ एक काम पे 4 बार आने के लिए और वही काम एक बार में हो जाए, तो it's become naturally easy.
Yeah. So I remember when I had taken a loan once, I remember the amount of signed signatures I had to do in a single document. And even though I am signing it at the beginning of the page, I would have signed in a particular manner. And by the time I reached the end of the page, I would have already started making some kind of an error. And it used to be a nightmare to go back and make the signature again. You've actually simplified that entire process. You've removed the nightmare or that experience, that bad experience from this equation.
Definitely, definitely. Aniket, I think the next question is for you. Have you observed any cost savings after switching to digital signatures?
Cumulatively, obviously, because when we're doing signing, it's looking कि per inquiry में इतना cost जा रहे हैं. But ultimately, we just putting OPEX on Excel, it's getting lower because बहुत सारे खर्चे होते हैं, fuel cost बच जा रहे हैं, बार बार एक लोकेशन पे जाना नहीं हो रहे, एक साइनिंग के 2 साइन के लिए आना नहीं हो रहे, space savings हो रहे. So ultimately, when you consolidate all the things, 100% is cost efficient. 100%. There is no doubt about it. कि जब हम लोग कॉस्ट एनालिसिस करते हैं तब देख रहे हैं कि ऑफिस में कितना परसेंट घटा है.
So is there a range or a percentage that you can maybe tell them by how much you've seen?
How much? देखिए मेरा लास्ट ऑफिस था 9% के आसपास, अभी 7% के आसपास हो गए. अभी आप हिसाब लगा लीजिए कितना प्रॉफिट ले लिया हम इससे.
Sure. I think it's an add-on to what we have discussed in the webinar throughout. So, how can this technology be made accessible to the illiterate customers, ensuring they understand what they're signing and can do so securely?
So, I'll take it from here and then Aniket can add here. Primarily, where are you using this platform? That's your primary point, right? You're utilizing, if you're using this from a lending perspective, there is a human angle to it. And any loan per se, and especially the strata of the segment that we are talking about, you require a lot of personal rapport or personal relationship when you approach a particular customer. So, one is about how do you communicate to the customer? That's where your human interface comes into play. What this does is ensuring that the human relationship is not, there's no advantage being taken in this human relationship. So ऐसा नहीं कि उसने he said that okay I'm a friend and you can take this particular loan and you can sign up whatever you want. So you're ensuring that you're making it as transparent as possible. There you can ensure that you are ensuring vernacular language being utilized so that he or she knows what he or she is signing up for, and you are keeping it as a permanent record at their end. So it's a combination, like I said, technology, and I mentioned it earlier, it is more like an enabler to ensure transparency. And that is what, like I said, lending in a lending relationship, it's like any other relationship. It's long-term in nature. What is important is transparency and trust. And all that gets ensured when you ensure that there are processes which are transparent and which could be kept as a record for that particular individual. Aniket, you can add here.
I think ultimately the end beneficiary is the customer, but product, the things like AuthBridge is providing, it's majorly B2B. So I always believe the partner has to be responsible. अगर मैं ले लिया, for example, a smartphone, depends how I'm using it, in a good manner and a bad manner. Similar product is even like that. But if we can use in a proper manner, इससे अच्छा कुछ हो ही नहीं सकता मेरे लिए. And ultimately, the end consumer is benefited. बैंक तो हमसे लेती है ना प्रोसेसिंग फी, हम भी लेते हैं, वो भी कुछ घटेगा, गारंटीड है। ट्रस्ट मी, मैं बोलता हूँ, मेरा जितना लेंडर है कि कैसे, इट्स रियल टाइम केस। मेरा एक लेंडर चेन्नई पे है, बैंगलोर पे, दे आर नॉट कमिंग और ट्रेवलिंग होता तो मुझे आधा देना होता, इधर पूरा देना होता, वो तो देना नहीं हो रहा है, पेपरलेस से काम हो जा रहा है। दीज आर द फीस वी आर सेविंग इन ईच एंड एवरी डे। मेरा आज का मंथ एंड क्लोजिंग चल रहा है, ऑल चल रहा है ई साइनिंग, एवरीथिंग। वन इज फ्रॉम गुजरात सूरत, वन इज एट बैंगलोर, बट नो वन इज कमिंग और गोइंग।
करेक्ट।
तो ये तो सेव हो रहे हैं ना। अगर मुझे भी जाना हो तो उन लोग के ऑफिस में अगर 2 डायरेक्टर जाते हैं तो इधर 50-60 हजार खर्चा हो जाता है, फ्लाइट में आने का, जाने का, खाने का, जो भी है। तो दीज आर द मनी वी आर सेविंग इन रियल टाइम। ये भी तो ऑफिस में हिट करेगा ना, आज नहीं तो कल।
Right.
Right.
Perfect. The next question is around integrations. If you could talk more about it.
Okay.
Integrating I think it's about integrating SignDrive with the existing system.
Yeah, we can. So, like I said, there are individual APIs if you require, but we also suggest that you take a platform as SignDrive, where you have the entire solutions at one particular place and you can choose. There's a lot of flexibility. The platform also allows you to tinker. You're not really dependent on us, for any kind of changes that you do. The platform gives you that accessibility here. But any of your existing ERP, we can easily, have it integrated, and it's a process which can be completed in not too long a time.
Okay. And is there a minimum requirement to get onboarded?
No. So when we are, see, the objective is to make this technology accessible to everyone. And like I said, we are enablers. Today, if by enabling a particular institution or a company, if we can grow, or we can help grow that company from 1x to a 10x, we become a part of that particular growth. So we've not defined that no, this is a minimum criteria that is required for enabling a platform. We are always open, and you could always reach out to us and we could sort you out.
Perfect. I think that brings us to the end of this webinar. Thank you so much, Aniket, Harish, for taking out the time.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much,
Aniket. Thank you so much, Mansi. Thanks, everyone.
It's a
Thank
pleasure
you,
for me.
everyone
Thank you so much.
who all attended the webinar today. You will be getting the recording of the webinar soon. And you can shoot down your questions to us over an email as well. See you in the next one. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you so much. Have a
Thank you so
great day.
much.
Thank you.